tremendous looking trophy.
Hello, welcome to Platinum Explosion, one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias, with me back in the host chair. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me, as always, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here on an episode with structure and planned. Good to have you back.
Yeah.
We're very lucky that was absolutely no important news in the last 2 weeks that you needed to talk about.
I mean, behind the scenes, I had no idea that Ash and Kieran were going to bang out an episode. I knew they were recording the Moon Knight thing that Wednesday night or whatever, because that's when Moon Knight was on. Check out all new Marvelcast podcast feed if you're watching that. But yeah, when it showed up Thursday, I was like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good, because I doubt I wouldn't have been able to record for several more days. Sick with the COVID, go listen to Arco Couch Between the Cushions if you haven't checked out that feed already. But the I saw it pop up, listened to it, laying in bed or whatever, and I was like, man, started so well. Took a sharp dive at the end, but you know, that's fine.
How do you feel about Juice?
I mean, I don't remember what you was discussing. Pulp and wasn't that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't say this. I promise there'll be no juice discussion. No, that was for Arcade Couch Between Pushes. Yeah, I'm a non-pulp boy. There you go. There's my answer to that discussion. Non-pulpy. But that also means, so yeah, in case you missed the memo, I had COVID last week. That means I played fuck all really. I've only started diving back into stuff within the last 24 hours. Had a bunch of other stuff to catch up on and went back to work and all that sort of stuff. But I did start playing the Lego game last night for maybe 45 minutes. The new one. So that's fun, but that's I think that's all I played really. And I've got Moss, obviously. The big disappointing thing is I got my review code for Moss Book 2 came in like pretty much the day, like as I got sick. Yeah, like, and I've been bedridden, and then even the other day when I could have played it, I was still having a bit of a like lingering headache. I think like as a side effect of, I got told like it could be like 2 weeks of side effects, or you know, like recovery sort of stuff. So I had a headache the other day still. Yeah, or a lifetime. I had the headache the other day, and I'm like, I'm not doing VR if I've got a fucking headache. So like I haven't dived into that, disappointingly. I'm planning to hopefully today, which doesn't help for this week's episode or whatever. But yeah, so that kind of all threw a spanner into the works, because obviously prior to all COVID happening, I was like, cool, Moss, in my head, like I was going to play it like whatever day that was, like I started feeling ill, maybe that Thursday or Friday, whatever day. I was like, I'm going to play it when I get home from work, make for us smash through it before we record like the following week, you know, and then it's just like, now it's like being pushed like 2-3 weeks by the time I get around to actually talking about it. So, bit annoying, but there's the update on all that sort of stuff. And then if anyone wants my quick thoughts on last week's major topic, yeah. Like, there's my PlayStation Plus thing thoughts. I'm gonna obviously upgrade to the highest costing one because I want to check it out for the show. So that's like sort of a given. That's just not that's like, I'll go straight to that no matter what, so I can just check out everything for the show. Whether or not I decide that's not worth the money, we shall see. Especially because we don't have Australian prices yet, and it's really hard to compare because, like in my news article, obviously I did the price comparisons, like just quick Google, you know, US to Australian dollars, but we don't actually know what the cost of the deluxe or whatever the fuck
get the
version,
the Australia tax.
Yeah, like it's just, yeah, so it's I'm saving my final thoughts on until we find out the actual Australian cost and like how much cheaper our third tier is without the PS3 streaming, like how much cheaper it is compared to the other one. Yeah, so
I'll tell you what, them not having PS3 streaming here in Australia is good for us, because your article about the Adelaide's team bring your PS Now is a very high,
is it
viewed article on our website. So,
I don't look so.
If we can keep getting those clicks from that as long as possible, I mean,
it's been my like
keep it away as long as possible. We don't need it. Nobody cares about these PS3 games. So
it's been my like clinging to things, being like one of the only people that have been like consistently talking about that or writing about that for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I know. I looked at the analytics. Is it actually doing like hits? That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. There you go.
It was like the best performing article of last month. So
that's hilarious considering. Anyway.
Yeah. Depressing.
And, well,
that all our new stuff is not getting as much.
No, that makes sense.
That's how it goes.
That's given what I know about other people's websites, that does make total sense.
Okay.
I think that's how the cookie crumbles. Anyway, this week's episode of Platinum Explosion in the trophy cabinet. Platinum, Kingdom Hearts 4. That's kind of the main topic, of course. So let's dive the fuck straight into it because what a weird Sunday or whatever this was over there. What was it yesterday? Monday? I can't even fucking remember.
It was Sunday night.
Sunday night, yes, that's right.
For us.
Because I was in bed. I had just got into bed. I had pressed play on a movie. I was maybe 2-3 minutes in. I was doing a quick Twitter scroll as things are starting to kick off because I looked at the time. I was like, if anything's randomly going to happen, it's always around this time. I mean, it's a weekend, but you never know. So I'm doing a quick Twitter scroll. I'm about to put my phone down.
You didn't know about the 20th anniversary stream?
No, I had no idea. I don't know who the fuck did. No, yeah. So I'm doing a quick thing, about to put my phone down, pay attention to the movie fully, and then I see the Kingdom Hearts thing. I'm like, fuck. Press pause, get out of bed, go back to the computer, write a news story. Watch the trailer properly, not on my phone. So, but yeah, so there was a 20th anniversary Kingdom Hearts event. I'm giving myself the excuse that I had COVID for a week and I wasn't paying too much attention to the news. But yeah, I had no idea that this was happening, which is really weird. But turned out to be well worth paying attention to because they announced Kingdom Hearts 4 officially. Not only just saying it's a game, but with a full-on trailer for it as well. So there's not too much here. I'll get your thoughts on the trailer and just the general announcement, the fact that Kingdom Hearts 4 is a game that exists in a moment. But yeah, the break, and I'll get a little bit lore-wise for people who care in a second. But so the main thing is it pops up at the start of the video. It says the Lost Master arc. So this is basically a brand new era of Kingdom Hearts. The last arc was called something else. I can't actually remember what it is off the top of my head. But the trilogy of games with all the spin-offs were part of a so-and-so arc, whatever. So Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be the first game in a brand new Kingdom Hearts arc, which means get ready for, I guess, 3 more games and a million spin-offs. Fuck knows. But
Dark Seeker Saga.
There you go. That's it. Yep. We get introduced to a new world. It's called Quadratum, which we hadn't heard that name before. We've seen this place before, and I'll come back to that in a little bit, actually. You see a little bit of Sora. He then talks to a woman who may or may not be a character from Kingdom Hearts Union X, which is a mobile game that has a fucking shit ton of lore in it, but no one really wants to play it. I just read the Reddit post when big lore updates happen. You see some Organization 13 members or Organization 13 hoods. It's probably not Organization 13 members though. It's most likely actually a different character, but I'll come back to that anyway. And then there's a post clip. So Sora then goes and fights like a massive Heartless. It looks like proper gameplay. I don't think it is proper gameplay. It's just obviously a proof of concept, I think. But the post sort of title thing that pops up says Kingdom Hearts 4, which is worth noting. The font for Kingdom Hearts now is also slightly changed from the last 3 games, so new arc, new font. You see Mickey, Goofy, and Donald. They look more like the actual Kingdom Hearts 3 versions of their characters, whereas Sora looks different. Everyone's making memes pointing out how he has normal size shoes now, which is, quite funny. They are searching for Sora. They see a red and blue flash. They're in a very dark area. They get the shit scared out of him. It's presumably Hades because that's red. They're probably looking to see if he's dead. Yeah. What do you make of all this teaser?
Yeah. I mean, it feels right. To live in a world in which there's an upcoming Kingdom Hearts game. It's almost because Kingdom Hearts was a thing that was
always in the background.
Always in the background forever, it feels. Yeah. It felt wrong not having another installment about to come out or in the background. So, and based on how the last game ended, it's we kind of had an inkling that they could continue the series. It was really fun. And all of us, we got in early. I'm really happy with how things played out. We got in early. We got all our jokes in early. The news came out at a weird time where it was right before all the Americans woke up. So it was all
it was right when most of us are either awake because it's a weekend or going to bed or.
Yeah, so we, and then to see the reaction, you go to bed and you see the reaction from all the Americans the next day. It was quite amusing. Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. But yeah, it's probably years away, especially seeing as Nomura apparently is directing. So
yeah. So I've seen another interview going around where he's got like asked about, you know, like with Famitsu or whatever, where there wasn't too much to it. It was more or less like, why now? Why announce it? And he said because he was afraid it would be leaked, which is funny because it's part of the NVIDIA leak. Which
that is, and that all those titles coming true,
or most of them anyway. He said that he didn't want to leak, which fair. He said that he had 2 ideas for games he wanted to work on next, either this or a game set in the universe of Yozora, which is the character that is like the Final Fantasy 13 versus character that's actually in the Toy Story world of in Kingdom Hearts 3, which is a character that's potentially going to be in this anyway, which again I'll come back to in a second. But and then he decided that he'll do this one because he couldn't work on 2 games at once. I'm like, oh, thank fuck! Like, Nomura, like, yeah, no, just add it to the other 10.
Because he didn't just do back to back.
Yeah, because he doesn't work on like 10 games at the same
Kingdom
time
Hearts
anyway.
And
it's fucking hell.
Final Fantasy 7, yeah.
Bloody Nomura. And then they also, the other news that's come out since the trailer has been that this trailer is made in Unreal Engine 4. However, Kingdom Hearts 4 will be developed in Kingdom Hearts, Unreal Engine 5, when the full game's out. So that's a sort of other thing here. But yeah, it was really fucking random, hey? Like, I always knew that Kingdom Hearts 4 would come eventually because, they leave the secret ending is a massive teaser, which is what connects it. So I've gone back and rewatched after this dropped. I went back and straight away watched the secret ending video, which if people can't remember or they never watched, I guess they may be very confused about like even if you beat Kingdom Hearts 3, you're probably confused anyway because the game's a fucking mess. But but
you needed to do something.
Yeah, you need to do something.
Collected something.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I'm just going to bring it up on the video version here quickly for people who so I can bring it up. But yeah, here we go. So the video starts with so it starts with Sora sort of waking up in this city, very should be Tokyo looking city, which is what we have here now in the quadratrium setting or whatever thing. So he wakes up here. We also see in the video that Riku later wakes up here, and Riku's searching around looking for Sora. There's like a bunch of hyperlapsed sequence here at 1 second too. The other notable thing when this dropped years ago, obviously when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, but the other notable thing from the time that everyone pointed out was that it zooms in at 1 second on like a building with 104, which is apparently people reckon is the world ends with you. Like that's a prominent number on a like shopping mall in that building. So people at the time were like, oh, this is like a world ends with you like world setting, which would make sense obviously because a lot of the main Kingdom Hearts worlds are set during Square Enix locations. But
Dylan, do you know what Sunday was?
What?
10th of the 4th.
Oh shit. Yeah, boom. It all fucking connects.
Yeah.
So you also see later in this secret ending thing, you see that character whose name I'm probably slaughtering, Yokuzora, whatever his name is, which is the video game character seen in the Toy Story 4 world in Kingdom Hearts 3, which very much looks like the character from Final Fantasy 13, 14 versus whatever that game was called, which was cancelled, which then everyone was like, oh, Nomura just brought that character into Kingdom Hearts because he was like, fuck it. So you see that character like sitting on a building here watching Riku, like sort of eyeing him off. The character looks very much like Riku. That's a thing. And then also at the end of this, you see the hooded figure who then puts his hands up to the moon and like makes a heart around it, Kingdom Hearts sort of thing. Now, again, this character is probably the one that's seen in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, even though he has the Organization 13 hood on thing. It's most likely a character that was only talked about in Kingdom Hearts 3 and is primarily a character from, again, Union X, the mobile game, where they are doing this massive lore dump in that fucking game. It's ridiculous. But is a character called the Masters of Masters, I think, or the Master of Masters. Yeah. Probably also explains why this next arc is going to be called the Lost Master arc. So the Master of Masters was like the OG sort of wrote a book of prophecies about a Keyblade War, all this other shit that I can't even really make sense of. Go watch a YouTube video by someone who is better explaining this than me, to be honest. But yeah, so presumably this is a character recently introduced as sort of like the new sort of like, you know, background head honcho, probably bad guy, may or may not be, I don't know, an anti-hero, fuck knows, but yeah, a lot of his stuff's come out of Union X. No one knows what he looks like. He's only ever seen in the Organization 13 hood thing, but he also has had like a bunch of disciples, and he gave them prophecies, and then they turned on each other and all this sort of stuff. Also, that girl character that's seen in this, a lot of people think that she's also a character from Union X who died like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, which also then leads into the whole theory of where Sora wakes up and she asks, you know, you've been sleeping for 7 days, and like hints about it being the afterworld. So, because of course Sora dies. Spoilers. It doesn't feel, if you're listening to this, we're talking about Kingdom Hearts 4 at this stage. Spoilers. Come on, spoilers are off the road for Kingdom Hearts 3, but most people probably listening to this don't care. But too bad. There's the big news of the week. Sora dies, quote unquote, dies at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. He more or less sacrifices himself to keep Kairi alive, and like he fades away into dust. He gets dusted, like Avengers dusted, sitting on the tree there. It's very sad. Emotional moment, but then yeah, the secret ending reveals that he wakes up in this location. And then obviously in the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4, you've got Sora and Donald looking for him because they don't believe he could die. Because in the world of Kingdom Hearts, can people really ever die? Who knows? That's probably also why it's Hades, because they're probably looking to see if Sora's gone through their, you know, the underworld because he died, sort of thing. Anyway, there's only a short trailer and there's already a lot to dig your heels into. The game is probably years away. The trailer literally ends with magic in progress or whatever it says at the end, you know, which is basically says development in progress. It's probably years away. Look, I'm okay with years away. I'm not okay with 10 years away, to be honest. This is the thing. Like, if this game takes nearly as long as Kingdom Hearts 3, that is just absolute, just get your shit together, because it should not take 10 years. Like, I always tell that story about how I brought a PS3. I brought a PlayStation 3 because at the time I was like, Kingdom Hearts 3 should be out soon.
Yep.
Whole other generation away.
Yep. End of a whole another
generation. End of a whole other generation. It's fucked. It's just ridiculous when you think about the fact that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, couple years difference. And then all the spin-offs in between, and that's probably half the problem. But considering, at least as far as we know, Nomura's only working on this, and I guess Final Fantasy VII Part 2, I presume
he's some sort of consultant. Yeah. I believe that his co-director is taking over.
Yes, taking over. But he's still got his hand in that pie to some degree, I think.
Yeah, he'll be doing something.
Yeah. But if this is all he's focusing on and not Birth by Sleep, not like spin-offy type stuff, then this shouldn't take as long as what previously Kingdom Hearts 3 did, hopefully.
Yep. Do you want to touch on the fan theory about the forest that you see in the trailer?
Oh, fuck yeah, that's right. That was the other thing I forgot. Yeah, so for people who haven't seen it, there's at the very start of the trailer, there's like a forest you see. At one, I can't remember the time code, but yeah, you can see a shot where it looks like there's an AT-AT or an AT-AT, whatever fucking nerd you are. There's one of those in the background, like the foot of one, they reckon. So people thinking it's a forest of Endor. Setting, location, so people are theorizing that we're going to see a Star Wars world in this. Previously, Nomura has said no to Disney-owned properties that aren't original Disney things, because he said that was the basis for the game. However, I do think that considering it's a brand new setting, trilogy, maybe he's like, maybe it's time to...
if you're doing these realistic character models, then... You know, maybe you aim for more of these live action ish. It seems like this look would fit more with Pirates of the Caribbean, which they'll probably visit again. And how this series works.
As much as I'm going like hardcore confusing people, I'm sure, talking about this franchise, I'm hoping that even though this will be a continuation of the lore, even for someone like me who enjoys reading about it but still struggles to keep up, because it is very convoluted and it's honestly too much. Like, it's too much. Like, it's a big negative of the franchise is the lore is just fucking dumb. I'm hoping that this is like a nice entry point for fresh fans potentially to get into the game while continuing, you know. And to rebuild that franchise, having it include Star Wars and Marvel, that's like a guaranteed money-making machine, to be honest. I feel like that's the, if this game has Marvel characters and Star Wars characters, it'll sell like hotcakes. It'll make fucking $1 billion.
I think you only need one.
One for this game, then like save the rest for potentially, yeah.
Listen, if you want to go have superheroes in this game, there's a perfectly good franchise that you can jump to.
Big Hero 6.
Sky High. They already did Big Hero 6.
Yeah, that's true. They already did that. It was cool though. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be. Look, I'm not against or surprised if they have Star Wars World. Like, I'm not sold on that picture.
I would love for them to have a lightsaber that cuts straight through the Keyblade. That would be amazing.
Lightsaber Keyblade is fucking pretty cool idea. To be honest, that's a pretty cool idea. So, yeah, obviously, I'm keen to follow what's happening with Kingdom Hearts. I doubt we'll see anything or hear anything for
ever.
Let's say at least another year. Like at this stage, I highly doubt we'll see anything for the rest of this year. Maybe a year from now.
What are the chances of it being PlayStation console exclusive? Because number 3 was on both consoles. Obviously 1 and 2 on PlayStation 4.
I'll go 50-50.
Final Fantasy 15, PlayStation exclusive. Yeah.
I'll go 50-50. I don't, and I've got no evidence to say neither way. I'm at 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because especially if they've got Star Wars in this game, you want to put that on as many consoles as possible.
I've seen people saying and reporting that it's exclusive. I haven't seen enough to convince me that that's more than just rumor.
Who knows? Maybe PlayStation buys Square Enix and they can do whatever they want.
Well, I mean, I can't remember if you didn't touch on this last week, did you? This whole the rumors on that. So obviously
I don't think so.
Yeah. So obviously the other week when the PlayStation Plus stuff was happening, there was rumors of more big things happening, rumors of a state of play soon, all this sort of stuff. We still haven't had happen, but there's always a chance that as soon as we're done recording that happens. But one of those things is that there's a lot of too much smoke. It's that whole thing. A lot of smoke must be a fire, and it's that PlayStation is apparently or is in the middle of working out the final details on a massive purchase. So a lot of people are like, it could be Square Enix. No. The other name I've seen thrown around is FromSoft, which I do. Like, I know.
Do you think FromSoft and Square Enix are on the same level?
I think that to people who don't care about Souls games, they like you're like From Software's a fucking nothing company. I think
I don't think it's a nothing company, but there's a big difference between a publisher and a game.
I think you'd be surprised if you were to look at the sales numbers of Square Enix games. I think you would maybe not view them as sort of high in the spectrum of video game companies as maybe you think they are in your head, if you know what I'm saying. Like, their games don't sell as much as I think maybe a lot of people think they do, especially because a lot of us have they've been around for ages. They're Final Fantasy, all this sort of stuff.
They're very niche, though.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, if they've purchased From Software, that is, again, more in line with PlayStation's going to where the puck's going to be mentality, because they're only that's a company that is sort of coming into its massive now. I mean, you could say it has over the last couple of years between Sekiro and whatever, but their sales numbers have just gone up, up, up. The love for those games, the fan base for those games, up, 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 increasing. Elden Ring is the biggest game of the year. It sold fucking massive amount of copies. It's probably going to be game of the year. It's at least a game of the year contender. Everyone still loves all their games. I feel like purchasing that is like putting your money in a company that's probably going to have more, I don't know, like new ideas in the future compared to buying Square Enix.
Like buying Apple when it started doing the iPhone.
Yeah, I feel like that's different. Yeah, buying Square Enix, which I just think is, again, sounds ridiculous, but then I wouldn't have believed that Microsoft would buy Activision or Bethesda years ago either, because that just, again, sounds ridiculous. Yep. But so who knows? But anyway, I think PlayStation has brought someone of significance just because there's been too many people of reputable sources and word talking about this, saying that this is a thing that's happening. So PlayStation's definitely buying someone, that people care about compared to the last purchases where most people are going, who cares? No, the one that people cared about was Bungie, but then everyone quickly like forgot about that because PlayStation brought them and were like, they can still do what they want. So then all the fanboy wars, people are like, well, that's not exciting. Like, it's only exciting if we can complain because you've made them exclusive. But we'll find out soon. I would expect a state of play or...
You expect Sony to be throwing some money around soon.
Yeah. For sure. I would expect their announcement soon, and I'd expect a new state of play soon. Solely because we don't know what the fuck Sony has coming up this year. Really. So we do need a state of play to get those coals moving, on the fire. I did see another story of it yesterday or a couple days ago where people were saying that release date for that cat game. What the fuck's that called? Stray. Release date for Stray should be coming soon. And I'm like, well, surely that's part of a state of play. That game's been in several state of plays now. Like, that's not a random blog post, surely, or an Annapurna tweet. Come on. So, state of play with God of War trailer, state of play with a Sable Stray release date, and maybe an announcement of a purchase of a big studio. That'd be cool. I mean, if they brought From Software, the biggest way to, if you want to flop your big one around, would be to come out and be like, we've brought From Software and announcement, Blood of War remake is in production early. Like, you say that it's a while away, but like that's the way to get everyone super excited because that's the thing most people want, obviously. So, All right. What else happened this week? Fuck all, to be honest. PS3 emulation, Push Square writes. Sony might be working on hardware-level PlayStation 3 emulation for the PS5, according to talkative GameSpeak scribe Jeff Grubb, the industry observer who's proved to be well-connected side sources who have indicated that the platform holder is exploring support for its last-gen console, although it may take some time. Since talking about this all week, I've asked. It sounds like Sony might be working on emulation for PS3, Grubb revealed. It may take some time, but I wish they would come out and tell us that. Tell us that you care about this stuff because it's what's missing from PlayStation Plus announcement. You don't care because I know I listened to the podcast last week, but I feel like, it's just like this long. It's most people I feel would play some of these games for a weekend and then be like, I don't care anymore. But it's also been like sort of a thorn in Sony's side for 2 generations now, like this is a thorn in Sony's side for the PS4 generation, the PS3 emulation thing, and now it continues to be a thorn in their side. And as Xbox continually managed to make backwards compatibility easier for their consoles and all this sort of stuff, it's always just been this massive like problem for Sony that the PS3 was such a convoluted machine that they can't just easily make these games work on the machine, to the point that the only way you can get them and play them is, of course, via the cloud streaming, which we in Australia will not be getting. So I'm hoping that they solve the problem, not as someone who particularly wants to play these games, but simply because I know that it is something that a lot of people use against Sony. And kind of, I do get it to a degree. Like, it is sort of dumb, like how like you're like, how hard can it be? And they're like, oh, it's really fucking hard. like we really fucked ourselves with that console.
Yep. I mean, that would be the one plus, that people stop talking about it. Then they continued to move on with their lives of not playing PS3 games.
Well, that's what I think would happen anyway, but get it done. Just get it done, then people are going to go back to complaining about things that maybe I do care a little bit more about in line with them. But Eurogamer writes, a recent job listing has revealed Sony's recently acquired studio Firesprite is working on a new AAA horror game. The listing in question was shared on Reset Era and reads, quote, we are looking for a narrative director to join our development for a AAA narrative-driven horror adventure game in Unreal Engine 5. Fuck, what happened there? Then, quote, the narrative director is responsible for the project storytelling, helping to establish and consider the game's universe and lore, with responsibility for the quality implementation of narrative content for project milestones and ultimately the game's release. It's currently unclear if this game will be part of an ongoing series or a new IP for Sony. In addition to this mysterious new horror title, Firesprite is also rumored to be working on a new Twisted Metal game. As well as these games, the Fire's hype streaming is also helming the development of Horizon's new upcoming VR spin-off, Call of the Mountain.
Yep.
Doing
a lot of work.
What a fucking, smorgasbord of stuff there, considering Sony only just Sony brought this studio and then they haven't released anything yet.
It's like, here we go, 5 projects. Get to work.
Make a horror game, AAA horror game on a brand new engine, Unreal Engine 5.
Twisted Metal thing.
Yeah, do a Twisted Metal thing because we have a fucking TV show coming out for that. It's a TV show, right? Not a movie.
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot for a second. Yeah, and make one of our presumably a launch PSVR 2 game that I presume is going to be like the flagship title because it's Horizon. Like, get to work on that as well. Crazy. A lot of trust in Firesprite over here by Sony, or a lot of put a weight on them. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
By the way,
interesting to get. I don't know. It's interesting they're looking to hire a narrative director for a horror game. It's like, I guess, do you come up with the concept of the horror game and then get a narrative director, or I would have thought the narrative director would be there from the start, unless it's like already an IP that they're using.
So this is something that I think the whole narrative director role, like video game roles get very confusing, especially when you're trying to compare them to TV and movie roles and stuff like that. But no, in the realm of video games, you can have someone like, say, a director writer who's come up with the core basics of the story, the characters, the general vibe of the game and stuff. And the narrative director is then sort of takes that and has to make that, is then in charge of building out that and then stretching that into the entire video game sort of thing. So, no, games do get a lot more confusing about this
clearly
sort of stuff, yes. But that's cool. We got a bunch of stuff coming from Firesprite. Obviously, I would presume the first of their stuff to release will have to be the Call of the Mountain thing because PSVR 2 is, I'm saying, under 12 months away. I don't know when and where, but I'm going to say it's under 12 months away from release now. There was a story going around. I didn't see any of the emails myself, but there was a story saying a bunch of people getting emails saying like, PSVR 2 introduction, which was just a reshare of the PlayStation blog post more or less. But the fact that Sony's like sort of sharing that to make sure people are aware that PSVR 2 is a thing makes me feel like they're, slowly just, want to make sure people are aware and they can trickle out information. It was at, what the fuck? It was at GDC. Yes, it was at GDC. People saw it, I think, is what I could gather, or maybe played it. Either way, it's embargoed. It was behind closed doors. I don't know if people actually got to use it or just watch people something. I know it was there. I was reading something that it was definitely there behind closed doors. So, to what degree, I don't know. But yeah, I'd say that's their first game. And horror game sounds cool. Obviously, if someone likes that, you won't play that, but...
Nope, but Sony doesn't really have a big horror franchise, I guess.
No, so they expand the portfolio. It's always a good idea. And then the last news story for this week is just a quick PSA in case you missed this, but fucking Sony loves giving away free money apparently because Eurogamer writes Sony has invested $1 billion in Fortnite maker Epic Games.
It's B as in
B as in billion. B for Bobby Billions. B for Billy Billions.
Big billions.
Big billions. Fortnite maker Epic Games. The latest investment follows on from the $200 million that Sony put towards Epic last April, which I remember talking about, and I can't believe that was a year ago. It honestly feels like it was just months ago. Quote, as a creative entertainment company, we're thrilled to invest in Epic to deepen our relationship in the metaverse field, a space where creators and users share their time, said Kenjiro Yoshida, Chairman, President, CEO of Sony Group Corporation. Continuing, he said, quote, we're also confident that Epic's expertise, including their powerful game engine, combined with Sony's technologies, will accelerate our various efforts, such as the development of new digital fan experiences in sports and our virtual production initiatives. End quote. Sony currently includes a handful of exclusive Fortnite cosmetics as part of PlayStation Plus. In addition to this, Kirkby, the company behind Lego, has invested $1 billion, which makes sense because we did talk about on Arcade Couch recently, the Lego cross Fortnite metaverse partnership, bunch of money. There you Sony loves Epic Games. How did they go from 200 million last year to 1 billion this year, Ash? Explain that.
Unreal Engine 5?
Yeah, I guess that's probably
that's the answer, I guess.
From what you can gather, everyone at Sony is using Unreal Engine 5. So.
What are they getting in return is what I'm wondering, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Do they just get the engine...
Other than favorable treatment, I guess, maybe? Yeah.
Do they get the engine without any... do they get a cheaper rate on the...
Well, so last year, Sony gave them a $250 million investment for approximately 1.4% stake in the company. So I know it's not being reported here, but potentially getting increasing their stake in the company.
What's that mean? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So
another 5%, maybe?
5 to 6% or something, yeah. If we're going off the same same rate of money to percentage.
Yeah.
Which would put them up to nearly only 10% if that was a real thing.
No, it'd be like 5% still, 6.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's right. I mean, if they invest more next year, they could have 10% by next year.
Well, it depends on how the share system's working.
Yeah, I don't know.
Obviously, they're diluting. Are they just increasing the circle and they're like, everybody's slices get smaller? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe that's what it is, I guess. Just more hands in the epic pie, but yeah. Sony, but going from last year's 200 million to
more PlayStation games come to
Epic
Store potentially.
That could be a thing too. I mean, we already
We'll bring the Epic Game Store to
imagine
PlayStation.
That'd be weird, but there was part of those Nvidia leak was a bunch more PC ports of stuff, PlayStation wise, that we haven't seen yet, but everything else from that leak seems to.
So those are coming, surely.
So those are probably coming. That's right. All right, I'll do it. This week's episode of Platinum Explosion. Let us know any comments, questions, concerns you've had about Kingdom Hearts or anything like that. And if you want to hear us talk about Kingdom Hearts 3, I've done a little repost. Go check out the Arcade Couch podcast feed where we shared the Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler cast that me and Ash did a couple years ago because it was on the Review Discussions podcast feed. And I was thinking right before I was recording this.
Hey, that doesn't need to live there anymore.
That doesn't need to live there. I'm going to repost that on the Arcade Couch feed. So that's what I've gone ahead and done. So if you missed that, that'll be on the Arcade Couch podcast feed, where for the last couple of years, that's where all of our video game spoiler casts have gone. So moving on over. You can find us on Twitter, of course, by heading to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. You can join our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord, to come talk to us over there about whatever you want. And if you like this episode and you'd like to support us for $1 or more, explosionnetwork.com/support. Donate, set up a monthly recurring payment. We love it. Keep the podcast, keep the website going. Remember, every trophy counts.